And a very warm welcome to everyone this evening. Hope you're all good. This is, of course, the Korgis live stream. I'm very sorry I was about 45 seconds late because that's about how long it took me to eat half a tea cake with jam on it. Very nice it was too. Sorry I can't share it with you. The wonders of digital have not stretched to taste division yet. Tonight we are going to be talking about The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone, the new version that's on Kool Hits. Which features Emmy Rivers at the end of it. Oh, very good as well. I'm sure we played it once before on this, but in case you missed it, here it is again on the record spin. Yeah.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. We can lead the blind with our dark shades on. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When there are no songs for the one that's finally gone, sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When the doctor's best isn't good enough, sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When all hope's gone west, we don't need strong or tough. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. It's not hard to tell when someone's been to hell. It's when the best thing you can do is to love someone. Life in here is just way too sad, and the best thing you can do is to love someone. Old folks live with fear in a world gone mad. It's when the best thing you can do is to love someone. When words don't bring comfort in anything, sometimes the best be the only thing to do, the best thing you can do is to love someone.
It's to love someone. It's to love someone, 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 someone. It's to love someone, 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 someone. Oh, it's to love someone. It's to love someone. It's to love someone. Let me hear you say sometimes. That's when the best thing you can do. Hurry the burning with your dark shades on. You gotta love, you gotta love, you gotta love someone. The best thing you can, best thing you can do is to
Slightly delayed round of applause there tonight. We've got some very sad news, very sad news. The next 2 weeks, there will be no live streams because I am on holiday. And I think last time I tried to do one from abroad was Liberia. Okay, this time I'm going to be in Spain and France, so likely to be slightly, would have been more successful. But I think actually I'm just going to take a holiday. So we're going to take 2 weeks off. So no live stream for the next 2 weeks. What are you going to do with yourselves? You may ask yourselves. Well, the answer is obviously subscribe everywhere. Have a look at all the YouTube videos. Check out all of our stuff everywhere. And yeah.
That was easy.
That's how you fix it. There we are. But we will be back with you early October for a few more live streams. There we are. Okay. So, as always, we have a competition. And pretty much as always, the competition is normally based on the song that we are featuring. And so today is no exception. So this is featuring on The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone. But I'll give you a heads up clue. It's about the video, the existing video of The Best Thing You Can Do Is to Love Someone. And it's a corker of a question, this is. And everyone will go, oh my God, how are we going to do that? And then you'll see the pictures and you'll go, oh my God, how are we going to do that? So anyway, I am going to pop it up on screen and you can see for yourself. Okay, how many people can you name from the original video? How many people can you name from the original video? Do you remember that original video where people just pop up and go, the best thing you can do is to love someone? And every time they pop up, they're different. It's not always different people each time. But I went through them and I wrote them down. And there was even one I didn't know. So we'll let you into that a little later on. Anyway, that's the thing, is the most detail wins. So how many people can you name from the original video? That you can see on screen, that is, obviously. Yeah, write them down. Have a quick look. You can probably do it with the sound off. You don't need the sound on. And have a little check. See if you can figure it out. And you might need to try quite hard. I'll tell you what. I'll give you that little kind of pointer a little bit later on. We'll see how everyone gets on first. Yes, we will. So there we are. There is a quiz question. I think that up for grabs this week, because we're running out of presents, we're running out of presents, I'm going to dump in a copy of my album coming up from Down Under. This was done a few years before Cartoon World, just before I started writing with James. And I think it's good. I think there's a lot of good songs on it. Now, I know there's a couple of people out there who've definitely got this album, so if not, I will have to think of something else, all right? But that is it. It's coming up up from down under. There we are. Okay, so that I think will be the prize this week. Yeah. Okay, so good luck with that, and I will keep a little monitor. Now, I haven't got any long 20-minute videos I'm going to play in this, so I might not be able to race across and answer too many questions, but I'll try and kind of look at them as they stream up here. And I might have to scrutinize them a little bit if we've got a lot of names coming in, okay? So bear with me for that. Okay, best thing you can do is love someone. This has been a little bit documented before, so I'm going to try and go into some slightly different territories that haven't been documented before. We were quite close. I think we might have had pretty much all of the songs on the album in some form or other. And it might have been that we needed to write middle eight for something or whatever, but I think we had pretty much all of the songs for the album Cartoon World. And James said, do you know, I don't think we've got anything that's emotional, that's an emotional ballad. We've got a lot of clever things, we've got a few political things, we've got things that are very tongue-in-cheek, things that make you smirk, things about the 80s, kind of all sorts of stuff like that, but we didn't really, it felt we didn't really have anything emotive. So I think it must have been, I can only guess at this, that it must have been then the next time we got together, and at this point we might well have been getting together twice a week, something like that. So maybe let's say I was with him on the Tuesday, and on the Thursday I come back and said, I've got this idea for a title, and the title is called The Best Thing You Can Do Is to Love Someone. And he went, oh yeah, okay, that's kind of, and I said, I think it could just repeat and repeat and repeat quite a lot through it. Just a simple message, just driving it home and driving it home and driving it home. And he said, "Oh, I'll go off and I'll have a little play about with it and do some stuff, and I'll come back to you and we'll see how it goes." Okay, so he did, and he came back with this. For those of you who haven't heard this, you won't recognize most of it, but then at one point you'll go, oh, I recognize that. So here we go. This is James's original demo of his version of the song, The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone.
When your body's ill, nothing does the pain. Sometimes the best thing you can do is heal someone. When what you know is gone and it's been too long. Sometimes the best thing you can do is leave someone. Feel tonight for
etc. James's version of The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone. So yeah, every time I hear that demo and that middle section comes in, I go, oh God, that just is the sound of the middle section, which is brilliant because he's conjured that up on one guitar just with these quite ethereal kind of chords. quite ethereal chords, very very nice. And also he had that dual vocal thing going on. There's a couple of lyrics that almost felt like they were the ones that ended up in the song. Not quite, perhaps, but possibly I was influenced by the sort of sound of what he was singing. So that would have that would have been the reason why. But obviously, the first bit of the song we didn't use, and the reason we didn't use it, we talked about it, and I said, look, it's really nice, you know, it's got some nice lyrics, it's really nice, but I'm not sure it does the brief, what we set out to do. I don't think it actually fulfills the brief of a really emotional song that people go, that's lovely, because it is quite introspective. Reminiscent of some of the Stackridge stuff, you know, where James was doing very kind of some introspective stuff. And I think possibly the reason is that, because it sounds like he's doing it really late at night and everyone's asleep, and you can hear him almost kind of whispering it. It's quite interesting. I should ask him whether that was the case. It probably was the case. In fact, I'm sure he would say, I don't remember. So that was how it started, and I said, you know, like, I don't think it really quite fills the brief, but I love the middle eight section. I said, why don't I go and have a go? And I went and had a go, and I wrote the verse as we know it, the ding 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 ding, and we took it from there, and we put the middle eight in, and the middle eight then became that big outro as well, with all of the ad libs over the top of it. And so there we are. Our masterpiece was born. And we kind of do think that one is a little bit of a masterpiece. Interesting that Alan Draper, in his book, said that a cartoon world, and the best thing you could do is love someone. He said, finish with two world-beating anthems, or world-beating songs, might have been just. But he obviously liked that one as well. Yeah, we knew we had something good. We knew we had to do it right. I think when I originally put the rough down for it, I did it very much in the style of James Taylor, with a piano, acoustic guitar, bass and drums, all those kind of regular drum fills that you would hear all of his drummers playing. But I think I always knew that I wanted to take it a little more outside the box. So instead of that boom, tap, boom, because modern music often these days is not drums kind of playing that stuff, I just kind of thought, you know, what can I imagine that would be? And I thought maybe that's that boom, 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 boom. So that's what we ended up with. I mean, obviously it builds and it builds into other stuff. But the arrangement of it then changed into not quite modern, but a little more modern than your very traditional thing. So that was how it went, and then we got one by one, got everyone in the band in, or not always one by one, sometimes two by two, as they did in the Ark. And everyone put their own little bits on it. We had lots of harmony blocks, all of those. And stuff at the end that just went on. And then, of course, the original, we approached Cher Delican from Gorillaz and Laura Prince to put their vocals on it. And that took quite a long time, because both of those guys are really busy. I mean, Cher's touring the world at the moment. He's doing an American tour with Gorillaz at the moment. They're both really busy, so trying to get them to get into their schedules and then getting them to do a video was quite hard. However, the new version of it is not featuring them. The new version is featuring James on lead vocal all the way through, and Emmy Rivers on an outstanding performance at the end over the outro. And so we just let her do her own thing. That was really, really brilliant. So you heard that on the record spin, and you'll hear it again when we play the new video for it. It's not quite finished because I want Emmy to... I want to feature Emmy on the end of it, and I haven't got a video for her at the moment, and they're kind of a little bit tied up. They're a bit too tied up to get me some stuff. There we are. That's the new one as well. We remixed as well. I took it back to the beginning and just kind of listened to it and thought, maybe the acoustic guitar could be fuller, maybe this could be different, maybe the toms could be more, maybe, you know, etc., etc. So we went back, not to square one, but we kind of just had another look at everything. So the sound of the mix is quite different to the album version. So that'll be interesting as well. I think, what was I going to do here? Let's just oh yeah. So what I was going to do is I was going to just chat about the lyrics a little bit of this song. And in fact, I might do this on a couple more live streams because some of the lyrics in some of the songs are quite obtuse. And in fact, I think on All Roads Lead to Rome, James said to me, he said, "What do you mean by all roads lead to Rome?" And I went, "I don't know. It just sounded like it was a nice line." But then I quickly followed it up with, "However, if anyone asks, then all roads lead to Rome." In this particular case, means that whichever path you would have taken, you would have ended up here. Wouldn't matter which way round you went, destiny was going to bring you here. In the case of All Roads Lead to Rome, it's about a relationship that is perhaps doomed to failure, but there's nothing he can do about it. He has to go through it. He has to do it. She might be trouble, or she might not be. Might be the best thing that ever happened to him. And so, interestingly, at the end of the video for All Roads Lead to Rome, they end up in Babylon, where a new McDonald's has just opened. It's a huge McDonald's. It's brilliant. Just before Babylon falls. And that's where we kind of link up to the best thing you can do is love someone, because we have this first line, "In these strangest times, stuck here in Babylon." And we've mentioned this in connection with Cartoon World all the time, in the fact that the whole album, the feeling pervades the whole album that society is ready for a big fall, that we don't know what we're getting into. You know, whether a lot of the things that were mentioned, whether it's AI, whether it's gene therapy, whether it's pollution, whether it's the onslaught of technology that we really don't understand, etc., that things are moving very quickly and pretty much beyond our control. So that's a scary thought, isn't it? So I kind of really do think that we are in almost a Babylonic kind of society at the moment, and it would only take something for it to crash, and we could have just a crash that is almost like, a reset button. Interesting, I think Father John Misty on his album Pure Comedy actually writes a song called Things That Would Have Been Better to Know Before the Revolution, where essentially everything crashes and people have to go round back to living in the wild and stuff. And his take on it was, well, it would have been handy to know some of the stuff that we need to know now. Anyway, so there we are. In these strangest times, stuck here in Babylon. And this was also onset of COVID. COVID had arrived. And so we were all going in these strange times indeed, where nobody knows what's going on. It was like something out of a science fiction movie where you're going, oh my God, everyone's going around wearing masks. We think nothing about it now, do we? People wearing masks, it's like, oh, well, if they want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Whereas before COVID, anyone wearing a mask, you'd go, ooh, what's he doing? That's a bit weird. Is he contagious or what? So there we are, coming into COVID. We can't lead the blind with our dark shades on. And that particular line was actually more referring to, if we don't know the right information, we can't help anyone. We can't do anything. And there is such misinformation now everywhere that pervades all of social media, as well as the press and everywhere else. That you don't know what's real information and what's false information. That how are we supposed to do anything with that if you don't give us the right information? I think that was referring to that. And where there are no songs for the one that's finally gone, sometimes the best thing you can do is love someone. This was at a time when lots of people were dying. People were dying in hospital. Loved ones were dying in care homes, and people couldn't visit them. And it was like, what are you going to do? What kind of song are you going to write about that? You can't. There isn't anything you can do. The only thing you can do is be with someone and show them you care. That's the only thing. So that really is the principle, the principle of the song generally. I'm going to get into just another little bit of context, which will change your perception of the whole song. And I'm not after really changing your perception of the song, because it should mean whatever you mean it to be. When a doctor's best isn't good enough, that's pretty self-explanatory. All hope's gone west. You don't need strong or tough. Yeah, when people don't have hope, you don't need to go, oh, let's soldier on, let's carry on. You just actually need to show a little bit of compassion. And I think there's far too little of that in the world at the moment. Far too little tolerance of people trashing other people's point of views and stuff like that. Then we get into this whole middle section. When I come home, will you seem like a stranger, etc. Now, I was picturing someone who was at the sharp end of the COVID thing at the time. Might have been someone who was overseeing the COVID ward, or something like that in a hospital. And at that point, they couldn't go home. They were kind of locked in. They were there like 3-4 weeks at a time before they got a break. And I'm just thinking, this guy, he's finally coming home after 3 weeks, and he's got his break. And she doesn't know what sort of mood he's going to be in, whether he's just going to be in a mood to kill someone, or whether he'll be depressed or whatever. And he's only there for 2 days, and he's going back. And there is one line here that I changed. I said to James when we were doing this middle eight, I said, are you all right with all these lyrics? And he went, the only line that I felt was a bit shocking, he said, was driving into hell, which that was my original line. And because James wasn't aware that I was thinking of this hospital kind of or care home mentality, etc. So those original lyrics would have been, the female perspective, will you be angry again? Is this where it ends? Is that the end of the relationship? Is there going to be so much stress on it? And then driving into hell. And tomorrow we'll both wake up like this never happened. So it's a bit like they get this tiny oasis, this 2 or 3 days of away from it all, and then it all starts again. And he goes back and she's at home. I'm assuming that that's the gender way round it is. I guess that's the way round I was thinking, because the high lines are sung by the girls. That's the way we did it. Anyway, probably could have done it the other way around, would have worked just as well. So yeah, that was really that underlying thing in the middle bit. And then actually when we get to the end verse, it actually brings that home, that really that is what it's about. And I always imagined this last verse, and we did ask him to do it as well. I imagined Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue speaking that last verse. Hey, Ricky Ross has got such a great speaking voice, broad Glaswegian. I'm going to do a really terrible impression of what he would have sounded like. He would have gone, sometimes life in here is just way too sad. And then he would follow it up with, old folks live in fear in a world gone mad. And I just thought that would have been fantastic with his accent in there. So we did ask him to do it. I think he was too busy at the time. Or perhaps he didn't realize what a great album Cartoon World would be and how much he would like to be part of it. Anyway, but he turned it down. We eventually, we went for Cher and Laura on it. So yeah, those two lines. Sometimes life in here is way too sad. So some of the life on a COVID ward in a hospital, life in a care home where people are just dying around you and they weren't allowed out, they weren't allowed to see people and everything. Very sad situation. Some people would say, well, that was necessary at the time, and then other people would say, well, you got it all wrong. I think the medical opinion was that the government got it wrong isolating the care homes for sure, because all they did was keep it in. So there we are. And I think that's about it, really. The rest of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. But anyway, that is my analysis of my own lyrics. And kind of what I was thinking. But sometimes, very often, I am led. I'm led by a set of words that just appear, that will come somewhere. And I'll think, oh, well, does that kind of meaning fit in with it? And more often than not, it does. Or you can jiggle it about so that it does. And I like to do that because words that appear to you like that are usually really good to sing. They're comfortable to sing. If they just appear in exactly the right meter, they're comfortable to sing. So sometimes we shape things shape things like that. And it makes it a lot quicker as well, because the words just appear, you go, oh, yeah, go with that. Oh, I'll go with that, go with that. And then look at it and go, does it make any sense? And if it does, you're on a winner. And if it doesn't, you have to go back and go, all right, how do we get it to make sense then? And what is it about? What is the song about? Sometimes what the song about is about doesn't really come to the fore until you get quite a little bit of a way through. I mean, I think the care home thing there, or the hospital thing there, didn't really come to the fore for me until I was looking at verse 3 and thinking about that particular scenario. Yeah, there we are. That was it. I'm going to see what have we got coming up next here. I think I am going to go back to the competition question. I'm going to have a little look. Has anyone got anything in here? We can't. Oh yeah, I know. We couldn't see you. Sorry about that. But we were there then. Okay. It looks like no one has got to the end of writing down the big list of people that are on the on that video. So I'm going to go back and I am going to stick that back up on screen, and I will try not to forget to turn it off this time. So, how many people can you name from the original video of The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone? And what I must say is that up here on the screen, we have Leah Darknell's original cartoon. This was the second in the series where James Warren is on his way to Tibet to free the Dalai Lama. And the ingenious way that he's managed... ingenious way that James has managed to get the Dalai Lama in is in a big box, marked XXL Lama noodles, and from the box has come in, the best thing you can do is to love someone. And at this point, we didn't have a cartoon for This Is a New Low, so as a safety, I got Leah to put a little sign in saying, "Don't go there. Go anywhere, but don't go there," just in case we didn't get a cartoon for that. Yeah, there we are. Competition question again. How many people can you name from the original video? There we are. There we are. I don't think everyone will get all of them. But you never know. You might. You know, you might. I don't think you will. I think probably the only person that would get all of them is James, and he might not get some of them either. But yeah, there's definitely one there that's a bit of a loose cannon. So that's quite interesting. Yeah, I think we are going to. Yeah. I'm going to go to news a little bit early here. I'm going to go to news because there's a reason. There's an order that I want to do it in. Kool Hits is going to be on pre-release from October the 3rd in the UK, or from the website. Wherever you are in the world, you can buy it. So on pre-release from October the 3rd, and we are going to implore you, even beg you, to do the pre-release. If you are going to buy the album, it helps us enormously. If we get some dosh in and we go, oh, great, okay, well, the duplication's taken care of, and that's taken care of. Oh, the T-shirts, we can do that. It just helps with cash flow enormously. Saves us, you know, it means that we can put shoes on our kids' feet and stuff like that, you know. So pre-release from October, and there's a lot of surprising packages in there. So it's a bit like part of this is that we have a good few abroad things on the horizon. We've got Australia on the horizon. We are trying to fit Japan back in with Australia because the flights are not very much money, even though there's still 10-hour flights from Australia to Japan. Flights are not too much money to go that way. So we're thinking of, well, let's get back to the Japanese guys and go, well, do you reckon we could do this if we came up from Australia? Maybe we'll cover the cost of the flights and you just pay us a bigger fee or whatever. So we're looking at that sort of scenario. So to that end, we are going to try and do a little bit of a fundraiser. So anyone that would like to help us out, we've got some packages, and they're kind of interesting packages. And I'm not going to show you what they are at the moment because they're not quite thought through yet, but they're almost thought through. in the fact that, okay, we're not going to do vinyl at the moment unless if there is overwhelming demand for the Kool Hits album and we've got like a couple of £1,000 left over, then okay, we might go for some vinyl. But we're not going to go for vinyl at the moment. So you're going to have a download, which I think is going to center around a tenner or something like that. But you can always give us more. It's a name your price on there, but it's a minimum of a tenner. There's a regular CD at £13, t-shirts at £15. The box set is a more modest affair than Cartoon World because we haven't got vinyl to put in it. So that'll be somewhere around £30. That'll have the CD, t-shirt, poster. Is going to be a big A2 glossy poster, which I'm still working on with Nigel Boyle at the moment, just working on what is going to go on there. A smaller version of that poster will also be in with the CD. So yeah, that'll be in with the CD. And we'll stick a badge or so in there as well. So that's the box set. And then there's some personalization things. If you would like your name to be forever associated with the Korgis, there's for a small extra price, we're going to put a thank you into the credits for you there. For a small extra price above that, we're going to put your name on the back of a t-shirt. For a small extra price above that, we're going to put your name in bold on the back of the t-shirt. And for a small extra price above that, we're going to put your name in large. There's only 5 slots for the large. Because obviously, otherwise you're going to have just words everywhere. But I reckon we can fit 5 in there, and then I think that went up to like the gold package or something like that. And then we had the platinum level sponsor, where if you would like us to play, we'll come to your house and play. We'll set up. We're going to take the whole band with us, and we'll play for you. If you've got somewhere large enough that you can get our 8-piece band in with Dave across the side working the multimedia, because a couple of TVs got to go in there as well, unless we can use the TV in your front room, of course. So that is there as an option, and that at the moment is centered at I think £1,500, something like that. For £1,600 you can have all of the above, your name in bold on the t-shirt, etc. So yeah, your name large on the t-shirt as well. So there we are. It's something like that. We're still kind of trying to work on it. It's a bit of a fundraiser. If you've got spare dosh that you can help us out, and rest assured that you will be part of the Korgis journey and you will forever be in print. The actual logistics of how to do that, if you try and think about getting your head around that, of how we're going to do that, where people will in the first 2 or 3 weeks of October be buying different versions of these packages. We then have to order them. So what might happen, this will be a building blocks process, I think. What we might have to do is early on, we'll do a small print run of the people that have contributed there and what their name in. And then later on in the month, we'll do another print run. It's both of the items, the t-shirts and the posters, we're able to do small print runs, so that'll work. So it just means that probably by the time we come to next January, there'll be a bigger list of names in there on the t-shirts that we're selling at that particular point, or on the track lists. There we are. So if that sounds complicated to you, it is bloody complicated. I think it's complicated, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Keep your eye on the space. October the 3rd, it will go live. It will be the Kool Hits, Curiosities and Collaborations pre-sales, and that page will pop up. It'll come up under the store. If you go on the store at the moment, you'll see there's a subheading for Cartoon World. That's everything to do with Cartoon World. And there'll be another subheading which says Kool Hits pre-sales. Something like that. Yeah. So that's that news. Australia, Japan, yeah, that's all good. Here's a bit of news. Southampton haven't. It turns out Alan Draper is coming along. Alan Draper, of course, wrote that fantastic Stackridge book. So I've had a little bit of discussion with him. And I said, Alan, would you be up for signing some books? If people, there's quite a lot of people have already bought your book, and they wanted to come along to Southampton. Would you do a book signing? And he went, yeah, of course I would. And I went, would you bring some more books with you? And he went, I haven't got any. He said, I've only got 2. He said, I could donate them. And I went, no, I don't want you to donate. I mean, if you only got 2, that'll be an ideal Christmas present for someone, and then you want to kill me afterwards. So we are in discussion with a publisher, and we're actually going to buy in some of the books. So we'll generally just keep them as part of our merch stand. But the Havant gig, Alan Draper will be there, and Alan Draper will be signing. So it's like an official book signing as well as a gig. 2 in 1. Brilliant. Amazing. So, yeah, if you fancy that, fancy popping down, seeing Alan Draper, you'll sign your book. So talking about other double bills, Korgis and Orchestra, of course, that is going on. That's going well, I'm going to say. Tickets are selling well for that. So it's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. We've made enough to pay the band. That's the big band, that is. Not sure how much we can pay the Korgis, but we made enough to pay the band so far. So that's a good start. That means it's definitely happening. And also, I believe we are going to record that night. We're going to multi-track record that night. What that will end up with, I'm not sure. If it might end up as an album, I need to talk to all the musicians, find out they're happy with that. Obviously, we pay them royalties afterwards, and see how that kind of pans out. But it could be a really nice night. I know from the things that we'd recorded previously from our gigs there, it's quite a good sound from there that we're able to mix properly and all that. It's a little hard. Live mixing is always a little hard, but we've managed it so far. So it's been good. And I think that is on that subject. We are going to play you another one in the series from the Mike Smith Big Swing Band with James Warren, the concert that we did with him as a special guest. So this is another Beatles classic. You might have seen this. I popped this up on Facebook a couple of days ago, so you might have seen this. But it is definitely another killer performance from James, it's got to be said. And the band sound amazing. They sound amazing. And the other singers sound amazing as well. Mind, they're all hand-picked. They're all my mates. Here we go. This is All You Need Is Love.
We wanted to leave you with this one, especially the way the state of the world is at the moment. Felt that this was a very fitting song to finish with. 1, 2, 3.
That can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be in time. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. No one you can be, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need. Nothing you can know that isn't known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. No way you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. all you need. Love is 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 all you need.
Thank you very much from the Mike Smith Big Swing Band and the singers and a special guest, James Warren.
There we are. That was, sorry, I've turned everything off now. Well done. There we go, that's better. I'll never make that mistake again. So that was All You Need Is Love. I know I played that a little bit earlier on in the series, but I thought anyone thinking of going to the orchestra gig, it might just twist their arm a little bit more. I think we'll play both that and A Day in the Life on the day. I don't think we'll do any of the other Beatles covers that we had done along the way. We'll end up being a bleeding Beatles tribute act, won't we? We've got plenty of Korgis songs that work really well with orchestral things. And I did, just to take the scariness out of it, I did do a couple of arrangements the other day. And they were quite quick. Didn't take very long to do. I was surprised. Primarily because most of the keyboard players that work in the band are reading keyboard players, so at some point I will have had to map out the songs, so that's a big help in starting. So you just look, and of course other songs that we have already, some orchestral parts on the original, so they're already written. So yeah, it should be great. I can see that while I'm on holiday, when everyone else has gone to bed, I will still be writing. I'm sure that's the case. Okay, so we've had no competition entries here. So I think you could grab yourself a prize. Just have a quick look at the video. Best thing you can do is love someone. It's everywhere. YouTube is probably the easiest place to look at it, but you're probably looking at YouTube now and going, "Oh, how am I supposed to look at YouTube?" Well, there's do it on your phone. Maybe that's the way to do it. Who knows? But there we are. I see. Maybe it's because Elaine Brokenshaw doesn't appear to be with us this week. Otherwise, she'd have been there in a flash. Her and Dave would have been just kind of reeling off the names like that. So yeah, all good. So I think was I going to? I was going to give you maybe a little clue for that. I mean. I can't really think of anything that really helps, but there's a couple of people in there that you might think, I'm not sure I know them, and then afterwards you kick yourself and go, oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh yeah. Why didn't I see that? And there's a couple of other people you go, that person's really familiar, and then find out afterwards you didn't know them at all, never met them before in your life. So it's really just a question of get some names down. That's all we're saying is get some names down. Well, we got I can't read this. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I can read it now. It was just something I was going to talk about the video before we do it, but I can't do that yet because we haven't got to the end of the competition, and we may not. If not, then maybe we'll repeat it when I get back. We'll see. Everyone can have 2 weeks or 3 weeks, indeed, to get as many. Oh, hang on. What we got? Oh, we've got a good few. We've got a good few. I'll tell you what. I'm just gonna. Some good guesses there. It's got to be said. Tim, you were definitely in the lead. Okay, so I'm going to buy us a little bit more time. Tim, all I would say is that if you've got 2 people in the picture and you know who one of them is, you might be able to make a wild stab as to who the other one is. All right? That's all I would say. Yeah, and that might help, or it might not. Might not. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do before we announce a competition winner, I am going to grab you one of my archives. So this is an old one that I did. We painted the upstairs of Shabbey Road green in the end because my dream was to have a green screen room where you got the whole band are in there, but you can put them on the beach or something like that. And it kind of works a little bit like that, but you soon find out that all of the different colors of green in green screen cause you all sorts of problems. So, although we used an awful lot of green screen in our videos, some of it's from upstairs and some of it's just from another green screen thing I've got here. Or sometimes it's not a green at all. Sometimes it's against a white wall. Sometimes it's against anything. Any solid color that I can get rid of, I will. On the This World's for Everyone video, we used a different technique with John, where actually we made him see-through, and so you see things behind his silhouette. And that's just a click of a button, but it's another interesting way to use green screen. There we go. So just before we did the green screen, and this was after lockdown, so just before Cartoon World, I just thought, I wonder if I can do an upstairs thing by myself. And so that's exactly what I did. This is quite an old song of mine. I think it was written in the 80s, maybe the mid-80s, something like that. Very nice kind of acoustic-y kind of thing. And this one is called, I'm going to stick you up on screen. This is called I Dream of You.
There's a place that I go when I'm tired of hearing that money goes nowhere and the heart won't mend. Tired of something's missing and the bad guys are winning. Don't wake me up till I'm home again. Some man dream of wars and armies. Some men dream that love is true. Some men dream of rags to riches. But when I dream of you. When love breaks down, you have to pay. Oh, it's not for sale, and it's not for free. Then they put up a stage so the fools can play on, and everyone says, yeah, that's the way to be. Some men dream of wars and armies. Some men dream that love is true. Some men dream of rags to riches. But when I dream of you. Yes, I do. I dream of you. That God is out there, and some men see all skies as blue, though I hardly ever think about you. When I dream of you. And you know it's true. I dream.
There we are. As part of the Upstairs at Shabbey Road series, of which I just decided to do it. I thought, oh, if we've got a green screen room, then we can do some sessions where we get kind of a whole band in. Could do one with the Korgis. But typically I've done one with just groups of musicians from different bands that I work with and stuff who kind of quite fancy coming in and having a bit of a blow on some songs. So we've done quite a few of those up in the Upstairs at Shabbey Road series. And then I found a whole load of things that we'd recorded previously upstairs at Shabbey Road, and I loaded them all into it as well. I think you can find them all. There is actually a YouTube channel called Upstairs at Shabbey Road, and make sure you spell Shabby right or you won't actually find it. Or if you put I Dream of You Upstairs at Shabbey Road, that will come up. And the channel will come up. So that's the reason we had that little kind of logo. There's a whole series of those. And the other one was, what was I going to say? There was something in my head that is not quite working as well as it should do tonight. Yeah, that was quite an old song. Interestingly, someone said, who played the cabassa? It wasn't a little man off screen playing a cabassa. It was what I used as a click track for all the different versions of me to play along to. So I can't even quite remember how I did it. I must have had the recordings coming in. I think I must have fed it back through monitors. I would have done the guitar and vocal first, and I would have played the piano to it afterwards, and I played the bass to it after that. And we linked it all with the cabassa, but the cabassa was coming through the monitor in front of me, so that's why you could hear that little extra person in there. There we are. Okay, could be quiz time. I think it could be. Was there anything else I was going to say there? No, I think that's it. Yeah, I think it could be quiz time. Oh, Martin, you had a question. And Richard, hello, Nicholas. Hello, Richard Nicholas. You're forgiven for being late. You can always catch up on this later for the bits that you missed. And Martin, how many people in the orchestra? Well, it's about a 20-piece band. So we're doing it's essentially a swing band with strings added to it. So there's about 6 horn players, 2 trumpets, 2 trombones, 2 woodwind players, 6 strings, guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and in the first half there's 2 singers who are just to do with the Mike Smith Big Swing Band, and we're playing a lot of classic stuff. I'll be doing things like Sinatra, a couple of songs from movies and whatnot, some instrumental things like, Strike Up the Band, things like that in the first half. And then, of course, the guys in the orchestra will be back in the Korgis for all of their stuff. Minus my mate Rob Sherwood, who's my assistant here in the studio. He is going to be playing bass with the Mike Smith Big Swing Band. Like me, he's a multi-instrumentalist, so it doesn't matter to him whether he plays bass or guitar or whatever. So he's playing bass that night. And also, he's just such an invaluable person to have around because he knows everything about everything, technicalities as well. So he will be helping me on some of the other stuff, as he often does. I think Kerry will be there as well. Kerry will probably be checking people in at the door. So I know a lot of people have got tickets, and anyone that's booked through the Korgis.com, I've sent you on tickets. There's a couple of people have booked through Trowbridge, the Civic Hall themselves in Trowbridge. And yeah, that's how many people in the band. So I think the only person from the rhythm section that isn't in both bands is Rob. It's Rob Sherwood. So for the Big Swing Band, we've got Paul Smith on drums, we've got Nigel Hart on keyboards, and we've got me on guitar. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That would be it. It will be a rip-roaring night. It'll be great. And we won't be doing many of these. This will be the only one for this year for sure. If it goes swimmingly well, we might do another one next year, but can't actually guarantee that. We'll see how it all pans out. Yeah. Competition. Let's go back to the competition. Up on screen, I am just going to throw this up there. So, how many people can you name from the original video, the most detail, or the most names, the most people? And I took the trouble to write these down. Okay, and when we play the video after this, I'll come back to me now. When we play the video after this, you'll be able to go through the list and go, oh, that's that person. Oh, that's that person. And then you go, well, how are we supposed to know who that person was? Anyway, so I believe, Tim, you're the only person that actually really went for this and went through it. And you got so many right that you are most obviously the winner. Okay, so this is in order of appearance, although they appear in boxes. So, you know, I think I went left top, left bottom, right top, right bottom. James Warren, Emmy Rivers, Nigel Boyle, as you quite rightly got, Tim, Paul Smith, Elaine Smith or Elaine Gilmore, either will do, she uses both names, John Baker, Shara Delacan. Now, this is one you wouldn't have got, probably not, unless you knew Nigel. There's a girl that appears in it called Fran Clark, and she's Nigel's other half. And she's there with shades and without shades. Ava Valente, of course. Al Steele. Ah, is he on it, is he? I'll tell you what you didn't get, and you should have got this. Emily, who was in the Meet the Courgette, was standing next to Leah. So she was the one standing on a box. And Emily, who was often here on this live stream with us. So Emily Holiday, Leah Darknell, obviously, Jay Marshall, obviously, Laura Prince. You might not have got my other daughter, Lorna Darknell. The shot where where the younger girl and the older woman are on top. They're actually on top of a mountain. They're on top of St. Hilarion in northern Cyprus, which is like a big castle-y thing, and they climb. And it's like a stupidly high peak. And Kerry's mum climbed up to the top of it. And obviously I took the picture, or took the video, and Lorna Darknell is in that video with Olga Darknell, who is Kerry's mum. So that's the story for that one. Then we have, obviously, John Baker, we've already done. We have Sue Baker and his daughter, Abby Baker. And then we have the James Warren ones. And some obvious James Warren ones. There's his daughter, Bea, that a lot of people will know because she's been along to a lot of the gigs. There's his son, Arthur, his wife, Claire Warren. And the one you definitely wouldn't have got, because I had to put it up on WhatsApp. I went, James, who's in this picture with you? And he went, that is Asliham, our Turkish friend, who was showing us around Turkey at the time. So God knows how that ended up in the video for the best thing you can do is love someone. But I'm so glad it did, because that was a real wild card. And then obviously Kerry Darknell at the end. You see Kerry with a mum. And they're doing something. It's where Kerry's mum cracks up. She calls down. It's because we were doing some stupid quiz game. And the question was, how far can you flick an elastic band? And the other, we all had to guess. And so this was Olga's question. And it was, how far can you flick an elastic band? And she said, I think I could do it about 25 foot. And we all laughed. We went, what? 25 foot? No way, no way. What are you, superwoman or something like that? And so, of course, we set out to have this competition find. And we find she can actually flick a rubber band 25 foot. And we said, have you done this before? And she went, no. I just thought I would be able to. And she was able to, so it was really funny. So that's why they're cracking up there, is because we're all going, no, come and do it again. We don't believe that you did that. So yeah, that's the story of those family shots on there. Quite fun to make with all of those people sending those in. There we are. So, Tim, I don't think you have my album. And just give me a yay or a nay on that. If not, I will find you something else. James' sister, no, yeah. So, yeah, there was all those questions like, oh, is it this? Is it someone? You know. There we are. So, let me know whether you've got that or not. I can't remember. Forgetting who's got what. And there we are. So I think, other than sending you off that, which as soon as I get the answer, I'll try and get that off before I go on holiday. I think we are just going to play the new video of The Best Thing You Can Do Is Love Someone. As always, I'll stay on here for about 5 minutes afterwards, so any questions about anything, and that includes the pre-orders and all of that sort of stuff. You all know that you can email. If you do the Ask Us Something from the website, it'll come straight through to our email address, so you know any one of us can answer there if you've got any questions about anything. And there we are. So I'm going to try and have a good holiday. I know a lot of people will go, oh, listen, now while you're on holiday, try and switch off, you know, have a really relaxed, etc. Well, for those that know me, I actually don't do that. I always have a fantastic holiday, but I actually never switch off. I'm always thinking about all sorts of different things that could help. And I would imagine I'm taking a guitar out this week. I never take a guitar on holiday, but I went, do you know what? I'm going to take guitar on holiday this time. So I would imagine that there will be some songs or some continuation of songs in progress that will come out of this little lovely 2 weeks that we're going to have. So we'll see you all in 3 weeks. Thanks so much for joining us. And I am going to leave you with The Best Thing You Can Do Is to Love Someone, the new version.
In these strangest times, stuck here in Babylon, sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. We can lead the blind with our dark shades on. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When there are no songs for the one that's finally gone, sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When the doctor's best isn't good enough, sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. When all hope's gone west, we don't need strong or tough. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to love someone. It's not hard to tell when someone's been to hell. It's when the best thing you can do is to love someone. Sometimes life in here is just way too sad, and the best thing you can do is to love someone. Old folks live with